Let's talk about it. Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about
Inspirations
it.
Live.
Don't you wanna talk
And
about
now,
it? Let's talk
Mr. J
about it.
Spider.
Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you wanna talk about it? Let's talk about it.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. We're still on mute. Welcome to J Inspirations Live Fill Up Friday. I am your host, Mrs. J Spire, and I'm so excited that you are joining us tonight. If you are new to our page and new to Fill Up Friday, we welcome you. Please come in the comments and let us know that you are here. We would love to say hello and to welcome you. And if you are a Fill Up Friday faithful, then welcome back. If you're new, you may be asking, what or who is a Fill Up Friday faithful? Well, our Fill Up Friday faithful families are the folks who come on every Friday night here with us at 8 o'clock. And they are our faithful followers. They are our faithful folks that come on Friday to love on each other, to communicate, to share what we have filled up on throughout the week, and to talk about what we need, and to really just to encourage each other. And that is what Fill Up Friday is about. Just, coming to the end of the week, just talking about how we've been feeling, how we're feeling now, and what we can do to feel better. If you come on Fill Up Friday and you feel empty, then we hope that by the time that you leave, that you are feeling better about yourself, that the glass is not half empty, but that your glass is half full, right? And that you'll have some fuel to get yourself through the rest of the night and get yourself through the weekend, and really just be able to encourage yourself. So it'll give some people some time to come on. I'm so tired, you guys. It has been a week for me. So I'm really hoping that you guys are going to be able to pour into me tonight as I pour into you. So much to talk about tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about speaking life. That's what I've been having to tell myself this week. And so I want to share that with you. If you usually come on and you follow, then you know I don't have really like any lipstick tonight. Like I said, I'm really tired, but I wanted to push my way through. I wanted to make sure that I came on tonight, right? Because what's the goal? The goal is to encourage each other. And sometimes sometimes we have to do some things that we don't feel like doing, right? We may not feel well in our body, or maybe even like emotionally, like we may not be having a good day, but we have to encourage ourselves. We have to speak life over ourselves, and we have to do what God has called us to do. And God has called me to J Inspirations Live. He has called me to inspire, to motivate, and to J Spire. And so even when I'm not 100%, I need to continue to do what he has called me to do. So folks will catch the replay. Some folks will come in a little after. But tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about speaking life over ourselves. If you follow us, then you know that we usually post throughout the week. We try to post every day, but I am intentional about posting. So if it's not something that God has given me, then I'm not going to post just to post, right? So everything that we post is intentional and it is purposeful. Everything that we do here at Jaspirations Live is purposeful and intentional. So we usually start by just kind of going back and refreshing from the week and look at some of the things that we posted. And so if you saw this, then you know that this really started on um Sunday with the posting, and I may not read all of it, but just going to read a little bit to kind of like set the tone for what we're going to be talking about. So Sunday thoughts, it said there have been things and people in our lives that didn't mean us any good. Yet here we are still standing, not because of any strength or protection of our own, but all due to the love and grace that God has for us. Today in church, I felt like Pastor was speaking on my life. The details weren't the same, but the message spoke to me and reminded me of how good and merciful God has been. Reminded me of the maturity and the growth in my relationship with God and in my life. I have prayed for people who I know have spoken and plotted against me. Ask God to heal my heart and theirs. Ask God to increase their confidence and to open their hearts. God doesn't want to see any of us left behind. Although it's painful, we feel betrayed. We want revenge. Nope, it's not worth it. We are still here and God has separated us. We don't blend in. Now go and do what God has called you to do. I'm already running, gonna see what the end is gonna be. So when I posted that on Sunday, I was thinking, man, like God, Pastor really just like spoke on my life, like he spoke on where I have come from, right? From wanting to, get back at people, wanting to address situations, wanting to take charge, right? Wanting to say what I had to say what I needed to say to get my part out and all those things. And I just started to think about the maturity, the way that I have grown and just, praying for people and asking God for the best for people who I know who has not meant me any good, right? People who I know has not thought about my feelings or thought about what I needed or thought about the situation. They just did what they needed to do, right? And so again, there was times where I needed to get back, right? I needed to say something, I needed to address it, I needed to respond to it. But I thank God for that maturity and asking God to not only heal my heart from feeling betrayed or feeling like someone did me wrong, but also asking God to mend their heart as well, asking God to open their heart and to open their mind, right? You hear people say that hurt people. And I don't necessarily believe that because I've been hurt and I don't want anyone to feel that same hurt, right? But that's me, right? And that's my process. But there are some people who hurt people because they hurt, because they don't know how to deal with it in a healthy or mature way. And so I've learned how to ask God to mend their hearts, right? So that they don't feel the way that they feel anymore. And so then they don't also put those things onto other people, right? So that's a maturity thing. And I thank God that I've gotten there. I still have a ways to go, right? Because life is all about growing. Where as long as we're alive, we're still growing and we can do things different. We can learn things and we can do things. So I really just thought about that. And as I thought about that, um, the week started, right? Good evening, everyone. Good evening to Lucy and Paula and team. Good evening, ladies. Thank you for joining us. I see there's some other people on. And thank you for joining us. But as you know, so I thought about that on Sunday, and I'm telling you, thinking about that on Sunday and then getting to Monday, it's almost like everything just started jumping on me, right? And not me per se, but we know that when that the enemy, people, hey Sandra, I'll be home soon. I'll have your book for you. I'm so bad about going to the post office. I really dislike the post office, but anywho, we'll get to that another time. But anytime people think you are doing well, see you're doing well, see you're in good spaces and they feel like they can't get to you, sometimes they will start to, hey, Reggie, sometimes they will start to come up against people that are close to you, people that are close to your heart, people that are in your space. And that started to happen to me this week. Like, has that ever happened to you guys where you feel like things were going well? Hey, Tion. You feel like things are going well, you're doing what you need to do, you're progressing, and then all of a sudden things just start coming from everywhere, right? Like you feel like it's coming from everywhere. And you're thinking, God, like, what is going on? Right? Like, why are people that's close to me being attacked? Why are people that I love, right? It'll be your children, it'll be anything that, people will start to come up against it. And that's how it was this week. It was just like a boom, boom, bam, and I had to really just stop, and just say, okay, God, I have to refocus. And so, me thinking about what Pastor taught us in church on Sunday, and then later on that day, I found another post and it said, "You've cried too many tears to apologize for the favor that's about to be released in your life." And I started thinking, okay, like that's what's happening. And then on Tuesday, I feel like I just got hit again. And I was so frustrated, you guys. Like Shadana said, fiery dares of the enemy seeking to destroy our peace. Absolutely. And that's what I started to think about, right? I started thinking, like, it's people and things are starting to come up against me. But it's because I know that I'm favored. So not only do I know that I'm favored, and not only do you have to know that you're favored, but when I posted on Tuesday, I said I'm covered and favored. That's it. That's the post, right? Those are the thoughts. Because not only do we have to declare that we are favored, it's more than that. We also have to declare, and I read it just the way you wrote it, but I know you meant darts. um like, we have to know that not only are we favored, but we are also covered, right? That we are covered by the blood, that we are covered in Jesus' name, that we have to speak his name, and that we have to speak that covering over ourselves, right? Like, we can't just like think it. Like, we can't just walk around like, oh, I know I'm covered. No, we have to speak it out into the atmosphere. And so I posted that on Tuesday, and I felt like I needed to post it, but that someone else also needed to. Ma says slower is good. Ma, when I get excited. But I also needed to speak it out there that I am not only favored, but that I'm also covered. I'm covered by his blood. I'm covered by his love. I'm covered by his mercy. I'm covered by his grace. I'm covered, right? And I have the whole armor, and I have to put all those things on, and I can't allow myself to just keep getting frustrated when things are coming up against me. And it's because I know why things are coming up against me. And it's because I am favored, and I know all the things that God, not only is God going to release on my life and in my life, but all the things that he has already released. So I can't walk in frustration. You can't walk in frustration. You can't walk in the fear. You can't walk in the anger, right? You can't even get mad at those people who are coming up against us. They're allowing the enemy to do that, but we know that they have no power. Most of the time, they don't even know what they're doing. They don't even know who they're coming up against. We are children of the Most High. I know that I am a child of God. I know the plans that he has for me. You know the plans that he has for you. He's already spoken them to you. But because of the things that have been coming up against you, you're scared. You're not moving, right? You don't feel like you're fearfully and wonderfully made, but you are. And so we have to speak those things out loud. We have to say those things out of our mouths. We have to let the enemy, whether it's ourselves coming up against ourselves, or whether it's people that the enemy, that they're allowing the enemy to use them, we have to speak it out loud. We have to declare it. So go ahead and write it in the comments. I'm covered and I'm favored, right? I'm covered and I'm favored. Lucy tells me to slow down, but honestly, like tonight, I didn't even really know what I was going to talk about, how it was going to come. God just gives me what He needs to give me to release out to you guys, and it's for me as well. And so I get excited when He gives it to me, and it starts to just, it just starts to speak to me. And so I'm just so thankful that I've learned how to be obedient, and that I've learned how to be open to what He tells me, and that I've learned how to be bold, right? If you've been knowing me for a while, yeah, I talk a whole lot, but there used to be times where I wouldn't really talk about what God has given me because I wasn't bold enough, right? I would say, well, God, I don't know all the scriptures. God, I'm not always doing everything correctly, dotting those I's and crossing those T's. But the more I have begun to just allow Him to deposit in me, right, I just started to speak in the boldness of God, just knowing that He is going to give me what to say. He's going to tell me what to do. And so I see you guys dropping it in the comments that I'm covered and I'm favored. And that is one of the things I want you guys to speak to yourself every single day. There's going to be things and people and situations that are going to come up against you, right? Some days you're going to be frustrated. Some days you're going to be scared. Some days you're going to be stagnated. Some days you may be confused. There's going to be all those things that may happen, right? Why? Because we are living in this world. We're not of the world, but we're living in this world, right? We're here and we're a part of all the things that's going on, but we have to remember that we are separated, right? Have you ever been friends with somebody, and man, you really like this person, like you really wanted to hang out with them, you really wanted to be cool with them because they was just so cool, but it never would happen, right? It never could happen. Maybe you planned something, the plans fell apart, but it never came together. And it's because we're separated. Doesn't mean that we can't speak to people, that we can associate with people. That's not what I'm saying. But God has separated us and we're different. And so when you're different, we have to be careful where we are, what we're doing, right? And who we're with. And believe me, I've been some places, been with some people that I shouldn't have been, right? But again, we thank God for His grace and we thank Him for His mercy because we are covered, right? And we're favored. And so all things are going to work together for the good, right? All things are going to work together for our good. So I'm not going to stay on long tonight, but I just had to come on to tell you guys that life has been lifing. It's been lifing for me. I don't think I've ever come on here without lipstick, right? I don't think I've ever come on here without looking at myself in the mirror to make sure I was at least halfway put together. Y'all, this is my nightgown that I have on. Why? Because I'm so tired and this has been a week that's just been lifing. Um, but I thank God for the people He's put in my life to be able to give me those pep talks. I thank God for the people who's been able to tell me you're doing just fine, right? You're doing a good job. You're okay. And we have to surround ourselves with those people. We have to surround ourselves with those people who are going to speak life into us, right? When we can't speak it into ourselves, there has been days this week where I have just cried, right? Just not being confident in myself, not just second guessing myself and figuring out, am I doing the right thing? Have I made the right choices? God, these things are coming up against me. What am I doing? right? And then I had to stop myself. God stopped me in my track on Tuesdays, and He said, "You're covered and you're favored." Right? You're covered and you're favored. And so I encourage you guys to speak that over your life tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. Make it one of your affirmations that you speak over yourself on a daily basis. Tion says, "You're preaching to me." Um, Listen, Tion, like we all, we're all getting up and we have families and we're working and we have life and we have situations and things are going to happen. But I encourage you just to stand, right? Donnie McClurkin says it, the song says it. What do you do when you've done all you can? Seems like you can't make it through, right? We feel like that all the time. We feel like we can't make it through, like we're not going to make it through. But the song says, just stand, right? Like, just stand, like every single day, just get back up. Every day that we're on this earth, that God has breathed breath into our body, it is an opportunity to do something different. It's an opportunity to live better. It's an opportunity to make better decisions, to make better choices. Shadana says, "We're not exempt from trials as believers. We must remember that Christ is with us in those trials." He absolutely is. And it doesn't always feel good. Like this week, this week did not feel good. Like it's just been one of those weeks. I told one of my friends earlier, like, I go out into the world and I do what I got to do and probably make it look good. But when I get home, some days I just want to lay it down, right? Like I just want to take it. I just want to do nothing. I felt like, God, like, what have I been doing all day? Like I've been out here smiling and working and doing. Even though I've done much better, is when people say, "How are you doing?" I don't just say I'm good if I'm not, right? But even when I say, "Oh, it's been a frustrating day," or whatever, because of who I am and what I'm doing, I still have to just push through. So when I get home, it's like it's a done deal. And I feel like, man, God, like I've been doing this all day. Like, I don't even know if I want to smile right now. I just want to lay it down. But I thank God that today we posted for Friday Thoughts that life has been life in this week. But in spite of it all, God has been good. He's been gracious and he's been merciful. Yes, Kathy. He's been good, right? Like, um I'm learning not to minimize what I'm going through because someone else may be going through something different. So I'm learning how to choose my words um carefully around that, right? Because I'm never gonna say again, what somebody else is going through is bigger than mine. No, because that's not it. Because what I'm going through is what I'm going through, and what they're going through is what they're going through, right? What you're going through is what you're going through, and it's different, but it's not smaller or it's not better. I mean, bigger, right? It's just that we're going through different things and we all go through those things differently. It could be a loss of a job. It could be a loss of a spouse. It could be a loss of a parent. It could be a loss of a home, right? So, Tion say in a roundabout way, what you going through? Hold on, Tion. But like, like it doesn't make anybody's bigger or smaller. We're just going through different things, and we're going through it however we go through it. Tion, bro, I'll talk to you afterwards. um I inbox you, and it's nothing like, somebody may be like, "Oh, well, that's nothing," but like every situation is different for a person, right? It's like, it's like just those challenges of really just trying to figure out, are you making the right choices, right? Like we all have kids. Most of the people, that's not everybody, but I'm looking at some people who are up here, and you want to make the best decision for your family, right? You want to make the best decision, whether it's, older kids, younger kids, for you and your spouse, for you and your parent, if you take care of parent, whatever it is, it's just making those decisions and second guessing yourself. And it's crazy because I'm not second guessing God because I know what he's able to do, but I'm second guessing myself. And that's why he had to give me that I'm covered and I'm favored. He had to remind me that he has me, but that human part of me, right? Like that fleshy part of me is still like, man, but did I do the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Like this is so hard. Um and some people will say, well, you can't worry and trust God. And if you're going to pray, don't worry. And if you're going to worry, don't pray. Okay, I'm not operating in that. I'm going to always pray, right? I'm going to always pray, even when I'm worrying, even when I'm second guessing myself. Now, and then I pray that I get to a point where God, I'm not worrying, but I'm not going to stop praying just because I'm in a situation right now where I'm worrying. And it doesn't mean that you're not trusting God. It's a process and we have to get there. So Sandra says, in spite of everything, God is so good. He never said we wouldn't have trials, but he promised to stay by our sides. I know when we're going through life, we forget that God is still by our sides. He doesn't leave us. God's grace and mercies are sufficient. Absolutely. Right. And that's why we had to say today that even though life has been life and he's still been good, he's still been gracious, and he has still been merciful. So I love you guys so much. Like it's a couple of you all that usually don't come on Friday nights, and I thank you so much for coming on. I know Tion said I'm preaching to him, but it blesses my heart when I see my bro come on to support me. And Shadena, I want to say welcome because this may be this first time you've been on. So my Nelson County people showing up tonight, and so I love it. Hey, girl. He is definitely merciful. And so I just, Lynette, I thank God for you guys. And I thank God that he's given me this ministry. And I thank God that you guys, open your hearts to trust God to be able to allow me to speak into your life. And you think that I'm speaking into your life, but just by you guys coming on and supporting me, like it is filling my cup. And I have been running on empty this week. And so I'm just so thankful. And Paula said, God's got you. God works for the good of those who love him. Just got to trust him even when we're going through. Absolutely. Like these have been some testing times, but I know that God is amazing. I know that he loves me. I know that he wants the best for me. And because I know he wants those things for me, I know that he wants those things for you guys as well. So I speak life in you tonight. I encourage you to speak life into yourself. Um, Even when I was going through this week, God was allowing me to it was crazy. I was going into these stores and I'm asking people, hey, how are you doing? And people were actually answering honestly, right? Oh no, it's not a good day, or I'm so tired, or I'm so this. And even while I was going through, I was telling them, listen, get a song in your heart. When you get frustrated, when you get upset, when you get overwhelmed, just start to sing that song. So like even in my time of despair, right, or feeling down, God was still giving me the strength to speak into somebody else's life. And that's what we have to do. We have to continue to speak into other people's lives because God will give us what we need to be able to give it to other people. And so when I left out the store, the lady was like, thank you so much. Like I really needed that, right? And I'm just like, you don't know, I needed it too, right? Because I also had to remind myself that when things are happening, right, I don't have to go somewhere and like get on my knees to pray. I don't have to be in this space. Because I'm always praying, but he also gives me a song to be in my heart, to be able to just remind myself, hey, we got this, like we're good. And so that's what I encourage you guys to do. We always encourage you to practice self-care. Do something tonight, do something this weekend that's good for you, right? Something that makes you feel good, something that makes you feel happy. Um, So I love you guys so much. Jaspirations Live presents Poetry and Pastries. It's coming up in January. I think I put the save the date on there. Um, so that'll be coming. Paula, help me out. I know you're on here. Is it the 27th or the 28th? Um, we are still working on confirming a few things. So as soon as we confirm the time, it's the 27th of January, 2024, our annual Poetry and Pastries. Thank you, Paula. So as soon as we confirm the time and the location, we will put that information out there. Sandra says, I really applaud and appreciate you for being honest and how life has just been for you this week. Sometimes we hide behind how we're feeling. We have to remind ourselves that it's okay to be honest about how we truly feel. And you know what? That's something that I have learned over the last couple years, because I have always been good at masking. Always been good at putting on a face and going out and doing whatever I needed to do, always smiling, just to get the job done. But I've learned that I can be honest. I can be transparent because I need that for not just for everybody else, but I need that transparency for myself because I'm allowed to feel how I feel. Um, and so now I can say how I feel and still do what I need to do. And it is so much better, right? It's so much better for me. Um, and then Annette says, every test is a testimony. Always remember you are enough and God is in the blessing business. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that because we do have to realize that we are enough, right? All we have to be is just who we are. We don't have to be or try to be anybody else. So put that on your calendar, Poetry and Pastries. January 27th, 2024 is going to be here in Hampton Roads. Some other things that's coming down for 2024, but I'll share those things as we get closer to it and we get in the planning process for all of those things. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. My cousin Kathy popped back on here tonight, so I'm so happy to see you. Think I saw my aunt Teen. I know my mom is here. My girl Paula is here. She is our administrator. So y'all hear me asking her what's the date. She keeps me grounded, so that I can know what's going on. So listen, you guys, Sandra and then Lynette, y'all been gone for a while. I need to see y'all every Friday. Hey, Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah is here. Hey, you was here last week too, so I missed you guys. But listen, I love you guys so much. Miss Deborah, you are welcome. I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Be like me. I'm going to get some rest this weekend. I'm going to relax and take some time for myself after my mommy duties. But I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, be J Inspired.